welcome to St Mary's Question Time. I would like to introduce Mr Dominic Grieve, the MP for Beaconsfield and Attorney General. Mr Grieve will be taking questions from the floor. Please could we give Mr Grieve a very warm welcome. Can we take the first question, please?
Do you agree with Michael Gove's idea of making the school day longer and the holidays shorter?
Yes, I think Michael Gove has got some good ideas here. I think he wants to provide quite a lot of flexibility to schools to determine how they want to organise their day. Indeed, part of his project means that schools could actually decide different holiday dates from other schools and could determine how they best organise the day and the year according to their needs. What he wants to get away from is having a system where central government prescribes essentially the times and then finally the holiday dates. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, because different schools will have different needs to respond to and pupils will benefit from different ways of doing it. So I don't think it's a determination to keep you in school till very late in the afternoon, but I think it is an idea that you should have an opportunity of having more flexible times and also dates.
Are you in agreement with the idea of ranking students in school?
Well, I went to a school where students were being ranked all the time, so I think one has to be a little bit careful with ranking, because it can become the sort of be-all and end-all. And just because you're not first in the class, and I can promise you I was never first in my class, doesn't mean you haven't got something to contribute. And I look around at the world where I live as an adult, and I can see lots of people around me who've been very successful, who were very unsuccessful at school, sometimes rather unsuccessful at university. But is it helpful to have an idea as to how people are performing? Yes, life is quite a competitive thing, and I think schools reflecting that in terms of giving prizes to people who achieve well, I think that's quite important. But equally, everybody should be valued for what they can contribute.
What's the hardest decision you've ever had to make as an MP?
Now that's a very difficult question to answer. As the Attorney General, as an MP, I think on the whole, the hard decisions you have to make sometimes are you going to support your own party in a vote in the House of Commons? Or are you going to decide not to support your party? And those can be quite hard decisions. But I haven't found them very hard. The harder decisions I get is as a government minister, which of course is linked to my being an MP. For example, 2 years ago, I had to advise the Prime Minister. It's the only bit of advice I'm allowed to talk about as to whether it was lawful to take military action against Colonel Gaddafi in Libya. And that's an important decision because Colonel Gaddafi was killing large numbers of his own citizens, but it was in fact a decision to take military action against him. And so I had to be very careful that I'd got the legal basis right on which we could do that. And so that probably is actually the hardest decision I've had to take.
Have you ever met the Queen?
I have met the Queen. I meet the Queen on a number of occasions, and every government minister, in order to become a government minister, senior government minister, has to go in front of the Queen, and you have to go down on your knees, and you have to take an oath, very complicated oath, and you have to kiss her hand. And I've done all those things, and I can tell you it made me very nervous when I went to do it.
Would you like to be Prime Minister?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer. Every politician is supposed to say that they would like to be Prime Minister, but I think it's very unlikely I will ever be Prime Minister, very unlikely, and I think that there are other people who are much better suited to doing it than I am. Being Prime Minister is a very hard job indeed, because it is a 24/7 job, and you work very hard, and there is, I mean, I don't get much time off, but the Prime Minister gets even less time off. And the whole of your life is spent in the public eye. So I'm actually very happy doing what I'm doing, because I think I can do something which helps the Prime Minister and my colleagues. And should I never become Prime Minister, which I think is very likely, I'm not going to regret it.
Thank you.
We would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr Dominic Grieve for taking the time to answer some challenging questions here at St Mary's and All Saints. Thank you.
Thank you.